This year, I gained over 40 pounds of mass. I still have my abs, I'm still lean, and I'm still healthy. This is also after several failed bulk attempts where I just got fat and flat. So today I'm going to show you exactly how I was able to gain over 40 pounds of mass and stay lean the entire time. Welcome to Beyond the Barbell, the podcast where we go beyond the sets and reps and we explore the world of fat loss, strength training, muscle building, and living a more elevated life. I'm your host, Braden Barrett, creator of Look Like You Lift. So yeah, like I mentioned, I've gained over 40 pounds of mass after a little previous cut. So this is the heaviest that I've ever been at this level of conditioning and leanness, healthiest I've ever been, and the strongest I've ever been. So exactly how was I able to do this, especially considering I went through so many failed bulking attempts in the past? So first things first, I would just want to go over previous bulk attempts. So after I stopped with strongman, it wasn't even, we wouldn't even call it bulking. We just call it just gaining weight and just getting fat, because we still believed that mass moves mass. We really didn't care about how much of that weight was muscle. But it was when I kind of got more into the bodybuilding world was when I actually started going through bulks. I went through 3-ish bulks previously, and all 3 of them were horrible. 2 of them were with a coach that didn't know what he was doing, and the third was with a coach that actually did know what he was doing, but it still didn't come out as fruitful as it could have been. It didn't come out as fruitful as this last one that I just went through. So what went wrong? Well, we know with energy balance, what is required to gain weight is you need to consume more calories than what you're expending. And that's essentially how people get fat. So that same principle applies if we want to build muscle tissue. Now, this is where a lot of people just end it. Okay, they just stop right there at calories. So it doesn't matter where the calories come from, just as long as you're consuming enough calories, you're going to gain weight. Yeah, it's true, you're going to gain weight, but probably not the right kind of weight. So I had a coach who did that. So on my training days, on my calories were all the way up to like 4,000. On rest days, my calories are like 35. And it was a very high carb, low fat approach. And what ended up happening was I was just getting fatter. My midsection was blowing out. I was losing motivation to eat. I used to be very vascular. I was losing vascularity. I was losing muscle pumps. So like I wasn't seeing pumps in the gym anymore. I was gaining weight. You could start seeing it in my face. My face was getting all bloated. My eyes were all like, my cheeks were all puffy. I was getting like a double chin. So I was definitely gaining weight, that's for sure. But I wasn't putting on the muscle that I wanted. That was the 2 previous bulks. And then what's disappointing is the superseding cuts. There wasn't much progress. You didn't see much size gained from the bulks. That's the whole purpose of a bulk, is to put on muscle. So when you cut and you look exactly the same, it's very discouraging. So that didn't work. The third time with the third coach, we actually took a more educated approach. So he paid close attention to blood sugar, and he noticed that blood sugar was just always high. I just always had elevated blood sugar. So we determined that it probably wasn't a good idea to always have carbohydrates in the diet. So we used kind of a more moderate fat, moderate carb approach. And on the rest days, we actually incorporated more fat. And we actually stayed leaner during this process. We also didn't push the calories as high. We were bulking on a little bit lower calories. So we were on to something there. And then this previous bulk, I extrapolated what worked with the previous coach and took some data from some really leading edge professionals in the bodybuilding world, namely Dr. Scott Stevenson and Dr. Ian K. Smith. And this is the reason why I'm so lean, bigger, stronger, and healthy at this body weight. So let's get into it. So first things first, what I utilized was a thing called metabolic flexibility. Metabolic flexibility is essentially your body's ability to toggle between 2 different energy resources, essentially using sugar as energy versus using fat as energy. Those who are very metabolically flexible are able to toggle between using sugar for energy and using for fat for energy. Those with poor metabolic flexibility tend to just rely on utilizing sugar for their energy sources. They're not as capable of turning to fat oxidation as a usable energy source. So we've seen that those with really good metabolic flexibility tend to be more versatile in their energy consumption, so they can be okay with consuming more carbohydrates and be able to be very insulin sensitive with that. Those with poor metabolic flexibility tend to not respond very well to carbohydrates and tend to be very insulin resistant, which plays a role in body composition. Those who are metabolically flexible tend to be very lean and have a more favorable composition than those who are metabolically inflexible. Okay, so how do we do this? I think metabolic flexibility needs its whole entire podcast, but just in short, what I did is I know for myself, I do not do well with having high carbs throughout the day, all day, every day. I wish I could. I love carbs, right? But I don't do well with that. So what I do is I consume the majority of my carbohydrate needs within a 9-hour training window. So pre-workout meal, intra-workout shake, and then 2 post-workout meals after that. Okay, so 9-hour window from pre-workout to my second post-workout. That's when I consume the majority of my carbohydrates. All other meals outside of that training window kind of fall more into a keto approach, where it's high fat, high protein, very low to no carbs. Like the only carbs that I'm getting are just from my vegetables. So then that means on my rest days as well, I'm only having high fat, high protein, low to no carb, like less than 50 grams of carbs a day. So this, as I've seen, has kept me more metabolically flexible. Blood sugar is in a good range at all times. And this doesn't mean that I'm starving by any means, right? So on this previous bulk, the highest my calories went on my rest days was 3,500 calories. 3,500 calories with 250 grams of protein and around 200 grams of fat. And then on my training days, it was around 5,000 calories with about 800 carbs, almost 900 carbs within a 9-hour training window. That was a little brutal, but that's what I did. And that's what I'm doing right now as I go into like my second bulk. So that's been really, really effective. Now, other ways of improving metabolic flexibility is primarily just improving insulin sensitivity. And that comes down to taking your 10-minute walks post-meal, making sure that you're staying lean, you're not gaining weight too fast. We can use supplementation to help with insulin sensitivity, like using a glucose disposal agent, so chromium, and berberine can be helpful. So that was kind of like the major thing that was a major difference for staying lean through this bulk. Second thing was intra-workout nutrition. This is something that we're going to be rolling out with Look Like You Lift clients here this year, but utilizing, triggering muscle protein synthesis as soon as we possibly can. So when we're trying to build muscle or even hold on to muscle while we're trying to lose weight, our major focus is making sure we don't lose any muscle. And if we're trying to trigger muscle growth as much as we possibly can, you essentially get 5 windows to do that. So, and also one of the most prime windows, as soon as that muscle is exposed to hard resistance, you trigger muscle protein synthesis with the first set. So why would we not lean into that? And why would we not fuel this process as soon as growth has been stimulated? So my intra-workout shake consisted of unflavored hydrolyzed whey protein. And then I added some electrolytes in there as well. And then I added some sugars. So it was a combination of dextrose, glucose, and then when the calories were really high, maltodextrin. Okay, so this all played a major role in. It also helped to add in more calories where I needed to, but also that protein during that training session, I felt played a really big role in putting on the size and the mass that I have. So we're seeing some bodybuilders doing that right now, but I want to try to bring this to the just general population, those who are also focusing on strength training. I feel like that can play a pretty impactful role on recovery, on growth, and making sure that you come back stronger for your next session. We'll do another podcast talking about intra-workout nutrition. I'll actually have some studies and citations that we can go through together, but I'm just kind of going over a high-level version of what I did here. Let's talk about training. What did my training program look like? I utilized full body high frequency. So my training split looked like training 4 days a week. And all 4 of those days, it was full body. It was upper body, lower body. And then in that bulk, I had a major focus on arms. My arms are horrible. My legs look pretty good. They were pretty okay. So it was greater focus on arms, lower focus on legs, but everything was trained 4 days a week. And according to Dr. Scott Stevenson's satellite cell theory, those with not poor, but like pretty average genetics will respond to growth if we can stimulate it as frequently throughout the week as possible. So we took 1 to 2 sets to failure. We used muscle rounds. We used myo reps, but everything got worked 3 to 4 times a week. Arms were trained 4 times a week. Other body parts were done twice a week, but it was full body 4 times a week. And I firmly believe that full body high frequency works the best, especially for those like me who have average or subpar genetics. There are some people who grow just fine with a bro split, some people who love push-pull legs. That's all fine. But this is the most growth that I've seen when I can do full body high frequency. Last one is cardio. I did keep cardio in while I was putting on weight. And the major reason for this is twofold. Number one was health reasons. So keeping blood pressure in range, again, keeping blood sugar down, improving digestion. But also the second one was performance and body composition. So if your cardiovascular strength is what's preventing you from pushing harder in your sets, you're leaving gains on the table. If the reason why you have to end a set is because you're out of breath, you could have done more had you had the oxygen to do so, you're leaving gains on the table. So cardio is important, especially in the off season, especially when you're bulking. So what I did is kept my steps up, 8,000 steps a day, bare minimum. But then I also did 2 to 3 hard cardio sessions a week. So high zone 2, low zone 3 cardio 2 to 3 times a week, 15 to 20 minutes, not that much. And I tried to position that as far away from my training sessions as possible. So I trained Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. So I would do my cardio sessions on Tuesday, Thursday, or sometimes if I needed it, Tuesday, Sunday. Okay. But keep your cardio in, guys. The reason why, if you're afraid of not doing your cardio is because you're going to lose muscle, you're just lazy. That's not how it works. And I'm proving this right now. If I gained 40 pounds of mass while keeping cardio in, if I took the cardio out, would that mean that I would have gained 50 pounds of mass? Probably not. I probably would have gained less because I wouldn't have been able to push harder in my sets, right? So keep your cardio in. It's good for you. It's healthy. And it also keeps body composition, again, more favorable while the calories are high. That's another reason why I think I was so lean during this process as compared to these previous bulks. We didn't have an emphasis on cardio in the previous bulks. It was just steps, like 5,000, 6,000 steps a day. This is the most steps that I've done in a bulk, most cardio I've ever done, and I'm the leanest and healthiest. So to confirm that I was still healthy during this whole bulking process, I had blood work done. I got blood work done at the beginning of the bulk, and I just had blood work done last month. So I was we actually got it done in Thailand. So I was able to get a full comprehensive blood panel. I was able to get cardio echogram done, echocardiogram, EKG, chest X-ray, exercise stress test. So I got the whole thing done. Everything came back great. So there you go. You can gain a lot of mass. You can get very strong and put on a lot of size and still stay healthy. Blood pressure is still in range. Blood sugar looks awesome right now. So it's possible. It's doable. The biggest thing for me was meal timing, utilizing carbohydrates for training sessions and not overdoing it there. And being smart with your training and being smart with your cardio. So I hope this is helpful. If you have any other questions, or if you have any topics that you want us to cover next, drop it in the comments. We'll see you in the next one.